Sorry about that, you guys. Can you guys hear me better now? Hopefully you guys can hear me better now. Crusher Man asked, is the storyline of the first episode finished? We actually had the storyline for the whole first season finished. So that's all said and done, and then we're working on, if it does well, we have ideas for future seasons even. So yeah, sorry for the audio issues in the first stream. I'm pretty sure what happened was I accidentally rolled over my microphone cord and it came unplugged. Partly unplugged, so I think that should be working better now. So hopefully you guys can all hear me a little better. It doesn't have any of the weird audio stuff that was going on before. So, that's good. Okay, it sounds like audio is working again. Again, I really do apologize for that. My microphone started to come unplugged and that kind of derped everything. So, yeah, we should be good to go this time. So, hey you guys, and welcome back to another Raiden's Quest stream. And I'm actually working on some character design stuff today. In Photoshop here. Some of you guys asked last time, what am I using? I do have Adobe Photoshop, but if you don't have Photoshop, that doesn't mean you can't do stuff like this. There are lots of good free alternatives out there. Personally, I do prefer Photoshop, but it is certainly possible to do character design and animation and other stuff in other programs that don't cost the exorbitant amount that Photoshop does. It's probably the biggest problem I have with Photoshop is they charge a lot. So, but it is a good program if you can get it. So, as for today, I actually have some character designs that I was working on when I was on my trip in Colorado, and I'm going to be digitalizing them today and potentially trying to make them more animation friendly. I'll show you that, guys, in a moment. Here we go. So, as for the designs today, we actually have 3. So the first one here is Deki. So, Deki is one of the characters who will be appearing, not in episode 1, but in one of the later episodes. But as you can see, his design isn't necessarily the most animation-friendly because he has all these spots and stripes and stuff. So we might be working a little bit on that, trying to kind of make that a little bit easier for our poor colorists who have to draw him every single frame. So, we have Deki, and then we have Kaede, who I'm actually going to be working on her design a little bit more and kind of trying to figure out a little bit more of what I'm doing with her design, because this is just my original concept, but then we also have some concept art that Song did, which is over here. So I'm probably going to try to combine these two designs because I really like certain elements of both of them. Give me one moment. Sorry about that, my phone decided it had to ring again. Like always. Wouldn't be a live stream if my phone didn't go off at least once. So, okay, do I like carrots? Yeah, carrots are okay. They're not my favorite vegetable, but, I do like carrots alright. We'll probably go a little past, 2 at this point. 2 is just kind of a rough ending time, by the way. And then our last design that we have, so if we get through working on Kaede's design, is, Tomo. So, Tomo is a little bit of different design. Again, might need to be made a little bit more animation-friendly. But yeah, just a lot of different things I'm working on. I got sketchier as I progressed through these, so these 2 were later designs. Oops. I got a little bit more sketchy and less refined, but Deki's was actually pretty finalized. And I really like how it turned out. So let's actually scoot him a little bit this way. So... and no problem, yeah, Song actually helps out quite a bit with our character design for new characters, and for a lot of the background characters as well. Many of them are her designs, so, because, you know, there's a lot of background characters that, even if they don't have lines or stuff, they still have to have design, and so a lot of the time, Song goes through and does those designs for us, so that we don't have a bunch of shadowy characters standing in the background with no design whatsoever. But anyway, let's actually get started on working on Deki here. So I'll go ahead and make a new layer for my line art, and I'm actually going to turn down the opacity on this one so that I can see my dark lines a little bit more. I'm not going to outline his markings, I'm just going to outline his, the general outline. So do I have this on? Nope, I have it on the wrong mode. Oh, no, I don't have it on transfer. Okay. I thought I had it on transfer. Hey, Mike! So, let's see. So I'm actually gonna go ahead... Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. That's what it's doing. Derp. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna start kind of outlining. I really like the line art for him. For the others, I'm probably gonna change it a little bit. So let's go ahead and actually, we'll give him a little bit of a chin. He's a young adult, a little bit probably younger even than the main cast. Nope, nope. Much of this is just me drawing lines over and over again until I get them looking right. I'm actually going to shrink down my eraser. And let's get that to a more reasonable size. So basically we're just going to do lines like that over the entirety of the outline, and then we'll go on and work in the markings. So Deki is a pretty young wolf. He's actually from a different pack than Raiden and then the main characters in this. He's a side character. Well, he's sort of between side and main. He has his own story arc, I'll say that much. But he doesn't appear for a couple of episodes, but we're still going to get some design work done for him. And, oh goodness. Oh gosh. Yeah, voice work is a lot of doing things over and over again. That's how we do, all of us do it though, Mike. Yeah, you haven't seen the number of takes that even I make myself do, so I get very nitpicky sometimes. Voice work is fun, but it can be really tedious sometimes and involve a lot of work. Yeah. A lot of you guys are talking about, okay, let's see. Or what is art fight? I don't even know what art fight is. I'm not really experienced with art fight, I'm afraid. Let's go this way. And, it's a lot of just trying to get the lines in the right places, yeah. There's been repeated jokes about Deki's name sounding like a bird call, and it is true. There are actually birds where I live that sound like they're saying Deki, but his name actually is based off a Japanese word, so not quite a bird call, but yeah. And most of the characters have names that are based off Japanese words or actual Japanese names. So I usually try to... A lot of the names in this have meanings that, like, reflect the character in some ways. So it kind of just depends on... the different names depend on different traits a lot of the time. Oh goodness, you attack people with art. Maybe I'll probably stay out of this. I'm not very good at attacking people with art. Let's see. And then let's come up here. And he has a little bit of fluff on his head. It's kind of more pronounced than some of the other characters because he's a little younger, and so usually that means he has a little bit fluffier hair. He also has his eyebrow right here that we're going to trace in. That kind of blends into his markings a little bit. And I'll actually show you, a lot of the time when we go through character design, we look at different animals for inspiration. So not even always wolves. We've had some characters that are like, so like one of the characters that you'll meet in episode 1 actually is based off an African wild dog, sort of in her markings. We have all kinds of different characters. The one design you saw that song did for Kaede is sort of based off a red panda. Deki is based off an ocelot. So I actually have a picture up, maybe not the exact picture that I used when I was drawing him, but for perhaps coloration, we have this picture. And so that kind of shows you perhaps the color tones we're going to work with or mess around with Deki, because that's the one thing is I drew this in black and white, so I'm going to have to now convert it to color. So let's see. Oh goodness. Art fight sounds interesting. It really does. I fear I would not be very good at it, though. I fear I really would not be very good at it. Oops. And, so, Deki, Kaede, and Tomo are actually all, from the same pack, and they're all kind of a friend group, and that was why I worked on design for them all at once, is, because they all know each other. They're all pretty close friends. And, their storyline will become important in the main storyline within the first couple of episodes. So keep your eye out for these guys. They're important. And let's trim that down just a slight bit. And then we'll draw in his eye. I'm not going to color in the highlight the same way I did on the black and white piece. I'm going to come and do that later as an overlay, probably. And in fact, I don't know if I will necessarily, will color in the highlight for this. This is, again, this will be an animation reference, so it's not going to be super shaded nicely and everything. It's just going to be flat color because it's what I'm going to give to our colorists when they go to actually color in the frames with Deki in them. So the main difference between that and a full reference is that the animation references are pretty bare bones. It's just mostly line art and then a flat color layer, because the colorist doesn't need to have all the extra shading to complicate the colors. In fact, a lot of that shading probably won't even be present in the actual animation, because we would probably die trying to get it in there, because we'd have to be shading every single frame, and just lining and coloring every frame by hand is quite the monumental task. With the current number of artists we have is fairly small, so at this point, shading is not a priority for us. We can get it. Oh, I'm happy with how it looks with the flat colors. Oh goodness. How do you know your character is better than the others? Oh, for art fight? Oh goodness. Oh man, I have a feeling people are going to start challenging me to art fights now. I really don't know what I'm doing with any of that. It sounds like an interesting concept, but yeah. Alright, let's get the rest of his ear in. So again, when you see stuff like this white patch on the back of the ear, do we see that in this? Yeah, you can see ocelots generally have this little white patch there. That was very inspired from that. I actually don't like this line, so I'm going to take it out and try again. There we go. Oh goodness. Oh good gracious. I'm not sure all these animal sounds. Incorrect animal sounds in the chat. Oh my goodness. Welcome back. Alright, let's see. Let's come up here and make sure we get in the back of this ear. And then we'll come down here. So when I trace from a traditional drawing, it's a little bit different than when I actually align by hand. So this is a little different than if you have seen our previous streams. But yeah, if we turn off this layer, you can see we've got the line art starting here. I may have made the lines a little thicker on this than I normally do. That's okay, we'll roll with it for now. It's mostly about the, most of it is about the colors anyway, because again, this is the ref I'm going to ship off to our colorists when it comes time for them to work with Deki. So let me see. Oh my word. Oh my word, you guys. Alright. And then he does have some fluff here. Again, that kind of got lost amongst the darker color. That's what's hard about doing traditional refs for me, is it's easy to lose your lines. And like, there's no layers in traditional art. So his cheek fluff kind of comes like this. It kind of comes down here. And kind of comes down a little bit like that. And then we will actually get rid of that weird little thing there and then trim off this evenly to make sure that lines up well. So I don't often have traditional refs. Most of the time when I do a reference, I do it on the computer. Hey, Big Claws. I didn't have access to a good computer that can handle Photoshop for that week, so I did a lot of traditional art. Most of the time I do refs on the computer, though. Oh, that's really cool. So Song says, fun fact, the white patch on an ocelot's ear serves to show emotion. If you look at an ocelot and it flashes the white at you, it's scared or angry and threatening you. That's actually really cool. Perhaps that will end up incorporated in this a little bit, because those ear spots could help emphasize Deki's ear movement, because wolves do a lot of ear movement too, but a lot of them don't have that white spot of course, because it's mostly ocelots that have it. So basically when we go to design our characters, we look more at, because like at some point, Raiden's Quest doesn't claim to be a totally realistic story by any case. It actually borders more along fantasy, but at the same time we want to keep some level of realism. And so while we don't necessarily stick to common wolf colors or patterns and stuff, we do try to stick to naturalistic colors that you probably could see on a wolf in the wild. Even if the story itself isn't realistic, there are some things that we keep realistic. In fact, when designing the map for Raiden's Quest, we actually went and researched how far a wolf could travel in one day. I'll see you later, Mike. And we researched how far a wolf can travel in one day, how far they typically travel in one day, how big their territories are. We researched all that before we designed the map so that we could keep some things realistic at least. So while the story itself has quite a few fantasy elements, we still do a lot of research so that even as we're building the fantasy, it still has some grounding in reality. Because even if you look at even if you end up looking at a story where it's got magic and it's got all these strange elements and it's stuff we don't see in real life here, they still have to have rules for it. There's still generally basic rules that the world abides by. So even with Raiden's Quest, we have those basic rules. Drawing tablets are definitely not wastes of money, but what I have been seeing is that the main tablet producer is Wacom, or Wacom, or however you say it. And that's what I have, is I have a Wacom Bamboo. But they tend to have some more expensive tablets. There are now other companies that are lesser known that are coming out with with cheaper tablets that are less than Wacom's more expensive ones, but even perhaps a little bit better. So if you're going to get a tablet, you do want to research it very carefully and figure out which is going to be the best for you and for your budget. It's not always, name brands aren't always the only option. So I've had my tablet for several years now. It's been probably 4 or 5 years since I got my tablet. Well, maybe not 4 or 5. Probably about 4 or 5. So if you're going to be drawing digitally, then yes, a drawing tablet is definitely worth it, unless you happen to be freakishly skilled with a mouse already, which most of us are not. So yeah, I would definitely recommend a drawing tablet if you're looking into digital art. In fact, drawing tablets are so widely used for that if you take a digital art course at my college, they actually provide tablets that you can check out so that you can use them if you don't own one. Or if, like mine, it doesn't work with the computers because it's old. So, yeah, they're generally, if you're going to do digital art, you generally want to have a tablet. It's not impossible to do it without a tablet, but it's a pain in the butt. So let's see. What tablet do I recommend? Well, eventually I would love to get a Cintiq or something comparable to that, because so Cintiqs are those big ones that actually have the screens on them. My college again had some of those, and so I got a little bit spoiled using them in some of my classes. And those are great. I don't know how those compare. So far I've seen the other, mostly for other companies, it's the kind that doesn't have the screen that you just put down on your desk, which is like the one I have right now. But I would like to get one of the ones with the screen right now, but my current one is the Wacom Bamboo. It served me well, it's lasted, but it is very rudimentary, and I've heard that you can get better tablets for the same price now. So I'm not super well versed in the tablet market. Talk to Bella about that perhaps, because Bella knows more about tablets. So let me see, let's get this line done. And we want to make sure all these lines are connected because it makes it a heck of a lot easier when you go to fill things in. Otherwise you end up hand coloring, and with something this size, that's a huge pain. Oh, there's a gap down here too. So let's make sure we fill that in. Oops. Yeah, they're definitely coming out with cheaper tablets that aren't name brand nowadays. Honestly, different people have different needs when they come to choose a tablet. Not everyone is going to need something as fancy as a Cintiq. For some, something smaller may very well work. So it's just really a matter of doing the research and finding out, even if it's not name brand, do people like it, etc., etc. Just don't necessarily feel restricted by brand name, because there are a lot of smaller name companies that are starting to get into the tablet business. So if you're gonna buy a tablet, this one I think I got for $70 or something several years back. So you can expect to spend anything from probably around $50 to several $1,000s, depending on what you're looking for. The Cintiqs are quite expensive, which is why I don't have one. But yeah, depending on your needs, you might not need one of the super expensive ones. Yeah, there's different tablets also depending on how many buttons you have on or need. They have different features. It's the same with buying any equipment. It's going to be different for other people. Some people might like the fact that it has more one has more buttons and might be willing to pay more for it. Others might not need them any buttons and might want just the pressure sensitivity. It's really just a matter of figuring out what you need and getting started with it. And honestly, too, no matter how your tablet, yeah, you can spend several $1,000s on a tablet if you buy one of the really, really nice professional grade ones. But, again, don't be restricted by your equipment. You can do good art with any equipment, even with a mouse. It's just going to be very painful and take a long time. So basically these tools of trade are, they're a lot, they make things easier. They don't make things possible. Maybe between a tablet and a mouse, that might not be strictly true, because tablets do give you pressure sensitivity. But other than that, you can get off with a very cheap tablet and still do some pretty cool stuff. It's just going to be harder. Okay, Big Claus asked, Jay, how did you find voice actors for Raiden and all the other characters? So, the vast majority of the Raiden's Quest voice team is actually people I know, whether, in real life, or we have a few distance people like Mike, and then Flaffy may join us to do a voice. So, it's mostly people that I know. And then, like, Song knew Mike, so she got us in contact. And so it's mostly people who have had connections to the team. Erwin, if you've seen her on here, she knew a lot of the people who are now voice actors for Raiden's Quest. So it's pretty much a friend group. We didn't open it up to open auditions right now, because the trouble with open auditions is that with open auditions you have people of varying mic quality and stuff, and we really wanted to try for consistency. That's one of the biggest things that bugs me about most YouTube series. Hey, Salty Nova! So with that in mind, we did want to try and make sure that anybody who we recruit has a mic that they can use that will be good quality. So that's another reason we didn't do open auditions, also because that's just kind of it's kind of more of a hassle. So most of the people we have, either we know them in real life, or we know them and they have a good quality microphone they can use. So it might, at some point, we might open up for open auditions on YouTube. We might not. I really don't know at this point. There's a lot of factors. Okay, see you later, song. Alrighty. So let's see. And sometimes it works out in situations with the art and stuff, and with voice acting, that you just bump into somebody that it turns out they work for the job. So whether that be, honestly, like when we first started, we had, Raiden's Quest started with 3 people. And it just grew from there. So it grew even with people who, like, I bumped into an old friend at my college, and now she works on our art team. It really just, it grows in strange and surprising ways. So it's really cool to see. Oh, cool. Oh, cool, yeah, the Blue Snowball, the microphone is a pretty good microphone. That one and the Yeti, which is the one that I have, are some of the best microphones that, especially for starting YouTubers, that I've seen. So the main difference between the Snowball and the Yeti is that the Yeti has more buttons and a better interface. The Yeti is more expensive. If you don't need all that customizable ability, then a Snowball will work fine. I wanted to be able to have the customization ability mostly because of Raiden's Quest recording. But yeah, again, it's one of those things where you can manage with any microphone. It's just the quality may be better or worse. So like when I first started doing YouTube on the JPlays channel, and even the early recordings for Raiden's Quest that we're now retaking were all done with my headset microphone. So let's see. If your show is a success, how many seasons do you plan on making? That is a good question. Right now, we have one season planned that's for the works that will have 10 episodes. So that's going to be a couple years of work at least with the rate we're going, unless we end up getting a huge art team somehow or something like that. If season 1 does well, which we'll evaluate about midway through, I have ideas for as many as 2 additional seasons that I have pretty clearly planned. And season 1 is designed to directly hook into those seasons. So it would be, if the series does well, then we're looking at a 3-season arc. So if the show does insanely well and is still going strong after 3 seasons, then I do have additional plans for as many as 6 total seasons. But that all depends on a lot of things. Right now, the most I realistically see us doing is these 3 seasons that are all kind of a condensed arc. Beyond that, though, we would go on to expanding the universe of Raiden's Quest. Have I ever seen Gravity Falls? No, it's one of those shows that I keep having people tell me is really good, but I don't have a lot of time on my hands, so I can't necessarily watch it right now. But I want to see it, or at least see some of it. I've heard it's good. Is there going to be anything like flashback scenes? I love those in cartoons. Yes, there is! You're going to get one of them, sort of, in season, or in episode 1, actually. That's less of a flat, you'll see. It's not quite your classic flashback, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of flashback scenes, especially in some of the later episodes. It's not all going to be flashback, but we will get a lot of backstory on the characters and on what makes them do the things they do. What am I drawing on today? I'm actually working on some character design. So right now I'm working on Deki. Let me finish getting these lines in, and then I will show him to you. So I'm currently just doing some line work and getting that done so we can actually do his coloration. So this is Deki. Let me turn up the opacity for you guys. That's Deki. His coloration is going to change because I did this in black and white. But this is his basic design. So what I'm basically doing that now is making that into a colored reference like we did last time with Iryoku in Stanai. Thank you. Deki's design is actually, oops, I'm on the wrong layer. Deki's design is actually based off that of an ocelot, so he has this really cool spotty design, but I might have to try and change some of those spots, because again, I don't want the colorists to have to draw something super complicated every single frame. And I'm already being told I might have to work with this a little bit more. Oh, what am I drawing this on? This is working in Photoshop. So I do have Adobe Photoshop. It is a very good program. If you can get it, I would highly recommend it. But at the same time, if you can't get it, because it is kind of a pricey program, especially if you're not a student, thankfully I am a student, so I can get the cheaper price for a while. But if you're not a student, then it can be especially pricey. And if you can't get Photoshop, there are plenty of free alternatives that still give you a lot of good options and still let you do some pretty cool work in them. So I do happen to like Photoshop's interface, especially for animation. I have yet to find a program that makes it as easy, but easy and impossible, or easy and possible are not synonymous. It's very possible to be able to work on something like this without having Photoshop. So yeah, so what Salty Nova is saying is, Salty Nova is actually one of our incoming art team members. So I'm never sure how much people want me to announce when they join the team, But yeah, Salty Nova will be joining our team as an artist, probably as a colorist, possibly as a line artist in the future here. So, yeah, that should be pretty fun. And let's see. Oh man, getting Photoshop on your computer when you get it is pretty lucky. Well, and the thing that sucks about Photoshop nowadays is that it's a subscription. So you pay a certain amount monthly, and from there, like, they charge you every month. The old versions of Photoshop, you paid a couple $100 once. This time, with Photoshop and the other Adobe programs, you have to pay every month for as long as you want to use it. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, like I said, you don't have to have Photoshop to work on a project like this. It is nice, but it's not the only way to go about things. There are plenty of free alternatives. GIMP and Fire Alpaca are some of my favorites for that. Have I played Portal? I did a long time ago, but I've been meaning to go replay it when I have some free time. How do you become one of the artists? We choose the artist based off a lot of factors, and as we need more. So basically, what some of the stuff we look for in artists is, a lot of it has to do with them being able to keep up with the style. So if you have a radically different style, no matter how good you are, you're probably not going to be able to be on the team. You have to be able to somewhat match the style. You have to be able to be consistent. You have to be able to produce quality art. You have to have... we do ask that you have a digital program, because otherwise it's just not going to work. I don't like that line. But with that said, if you meet that criteria, then, and we've seen your work, then we may invite you to be an artist when we need artists. So, but yeah, another thing we look for is ease of communication, consistency. You have to be able to be a consistent member if you're gonna, and at least be in communication, even if you can't be working. There's a lot of factors. It's complicated. Have I ever used Sai as a drawing program? I don't believe I have. I think that one is subscription, from what I know. And so Photoshop is the only subscription program I've really ever purchased. But, like, I've seen people do incredible things and even animate in MS Paint. So it's really not about the tools you have. You can do cool stuff in any program. It's going to be how much it's going to change the amount of effort that you have to put into it, though. Photoshop makes things easier. It doesn't make them possible. Hello! Oh no, it's buffering. Sorry about that, you guys. Usually it's okay, but sometimes it does get a little bit wonky. So hopefully it won't buffer too much. There we go. And we're almost done. So we just have to, okay, yeah, that should work. So, yeah, let's zoom in closer. Basically, with Deki here, a lot of his design is, he's not super fluffy. Usually, the amount of fluff, it kind of depends on the character. Usually, I tend to draw females with more fluff than males, because it does help give a feminine impression. So, and then also the younger the wolf, the fluffier they are. So Deki does have some fluff because he is still a pretty young wolf, but he doesn't have an insane amount of fluff or anything like that. Here we go. But yeah, most wolves are going to have a little bit of fluff, if not a whole lot. Come on, no, my hand doesn't work like that. There we go. And then let's draw down this last line here. There we go. And just sketch in this last bit here. Is there going to be any romance with the action and adventure? That's a little bit of a spoilery question. Mostly, the story focuses on friendship above romance. It's going to focus more on the bonds between the characters, whether that be a deep friendship, a brother-like bond, or a romance. not every friendship has to be explicitly romantic, but I do believe in some cases that a deep friendship will naturally lead to two characters wanting to spend their lives together. So, very fluffy wolves, yes. So I think that actually concludes Deki's line art. Yes. Yeah, that looks about good for his line art. So if we select in here... Okay, yeah, we actually did get that to work, although I do want to erase whatever this little derp was. Get it? Yeah, we got it. So then what we're going to do here... Oops. We've got to get all those little pesky things. And there we go. And then let's get those back legs in there, and then his ears. So what I usually do, I've shown this before, is I will expand the selection, and then I will, on a new layer here, I'm going to name my layers lines and color base. What we'll do then is we will put our base color in. Now, Deki doesn't actually have a base color yet. So what we I'll turn this back up because we don't need it to be lowered anymore. So we have his patterning here, but it's in grayscale. So we don't necessarily want it in grayscale, and that's where we come over here and we look at the actual Ocelot coloration, because I want him to be more of, his markings are based off an Ocelot, so I want to give him some of that coloration. So we see we have a very light cream color, we have this yellowy golden brown color, and then we have this black. Most of the characters in Raiden's Quest have three colors, light, medium, and dark. That's for, a lot of that is, it gives you a lot of freedom to create an aesthetically pleasing design. I can't talk, I'm sorry. But at the same time, too, it's also not too much for the colorists to have to work with. They don't have to work with a ton of different, they don't have to work with a ton of different designs. Or not designs, but different colors for each character. So we generally try to keep it to about 3 colors per character. Some characters only have 2 colors. And I say 3 colors, but then they have 3 fur colors, the eye color, and the nose color. So it's not entirely like that. But so what we're going to end up doing is we're probably going to do this very light creamy color. I may actually, oops, did not mean to do that. What we'll probably actually do is just color pick this and maybe adjust it a little bit, because something like that, yes. There we go. And we want to color that in on color base. I still want to make it a little bit more orangey. Still a little bit too... There we go. That looks a little more like what I want to see. So let's actually save this too, so that we don't lose this if something catastrophic happens. It's always a good idea to save your work, because accidents can and do happen. So let me see. Where is... Okay. Let's just save this here as Deki Ref. There we go. Alright, let's see. If someone would like to join as a coloring artist, do they have to have Skype to communicate, or could they just communicate through online? You don't have to have Skype. The team usually uses a Discord chat. Some of us communicate through Skype, but as a general rule, Discord is mostly where we put our stuff. You don't have to, but it helps. If you're really, really good and we really want you on the team, despite the fact that you don't have that you don't have a Discord or a Skype, that's gonna be fine. We'll work with it. But it's something we like if you have it. So let's see. Let's color these areas in. And and again, like, our selection process, it depends on a lot of things, like, do we even need artists at this point in time? So it's kind of a complex thing. There's no one formula that we use. It's not open application at this point, because that would be too much to go through for the time being. I don't know if it ever will or not. If it starts to grow, then yeah, maybe it'll become an open application thing. But for now, it's easier to have a little bit of a smaller team that we can know, that we can communicate with, and have it be a pretty close team. So, the other thing with open applications is I get a little leery of inviting people I don't know super well. So, like, most of you guys would be fine, I'm sure. But, like, you know, every once in a while you hear awful stories about somebody leaking stuff, and we don't want that. So another thing that makes me steer away from open applications and make me want to do things on more of an as-need basis. Hey, Mike! Alright, let's see. Let's get this colored in, and I think that about does it. There we are. And, oh, got a little bit more there. So that should be pretty good for his base color. Now I'm actually going to do the nose and eyes on a different layer, because with Deki, I'm not entirely sure what his, we're not entirely sure what his fur color is yet, and so if I want to be able to adjust it, I can do that, but it's layer based. So I want to be careful with how I do these layers. It's not so much we don't need 20 colorists. Depending on how big the project gets, maybe we would someday. But it's more just a matter of, at this point in time, it's still a pretty small team. And it's still... there's sort of a step between people we know and a total, like, totally making it into a much more business-like situation. So we're kind of still keeping it at the people we know phase right now. Okay, let's see. For the eye color, Ocelot's kind of have this dark golden brown color, and I think we're gonna stick with that for the eye color here. Ultimately having more people on the team means we can go faster. It doesn't mean we can't get stuff done if we have less people on the team. It just means it's going to be a little bit of a slower process. So yeah, can it be beneficial to have a bigger team? Yes. It's also harder to manage, and it's difficult for me to manage sometimes even just as it is. So for now, let's see. For now, what we're going to do with Deki, I'm going to take off the color base, and we're going to start laying in this darker color again. So let's do color base dark, and I'm going to call this one color base, color base light. So color base dark, we're going to again look at, so it's basically pure black. And, not quite, maybe. Well, we're gonna make it like a very darkish brown. Something like that, yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna zoom in, and I'm actually gonna start tracing in these lines. I almost never use pitch black on a character except for the line art. Because if you use pitch black and your line art is pitch black, then it fades into the line art. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here. So I usually, the markings will be some shade off of black. Do I have Windows computer? Yes, I have a Windows computer. Yeah, I'm that weirdo who really doesn't like Mac. I think it has its purpose. It can be good for music, but other than that, I'm not a fan of Mac. And I don't know enough about Linux to be able to speak to it. So let's see. I will say, though, Windows 10 is awful. I absolutely hate Windows 10. It's bad. I'm waiting for them to undo their mistakes before I upgrade. I still have a Windows 8 PC, and I intend to keep it that way until they fix their mistakes. Hello! So I'm basically just going in here and lining this area. And I will just bucket fill it in. In fact, we will probably want to close that off there. I will bucket fill it once I have it all closed off, and then just go through and erase the edges. It's easier, or like, and cover over the areas where it's a little bit weird, because that's usually easier for me. I also got to cover here. Oops. There we go. I really just don't like Mac. Yeah, I'm sorry to all you Mac users, but I don't like Mac. They use it at my college. I have to live with it there. That's enough. Nobody should have to go through that torture. Yeah, Windows 10 was a mistake. A lot of people hate on Windows 8, but I actually really like Windows 8. Once you get used to it, it's not that bad. And it was most of the issues were with Windows 8, so if you get 8.1, then a lot of those are fixed. So yeah, some of our people use Mac. This is Deki, yes. Deki is one of the characters who you'll meet probably around episode 3. But we're getting a lot of these designs done ahead of time. Let's see, oops. Yeah, Mac is, at the very least, a transition, oops. And it's one that I really don't ever want to have to make. The only time I would ever switch to a Mac is, and even then I probably wouldn't switch to a Mac, but I would get a Mac for music if I wanted to start using stuff like GarageBand. The other thing I hate is the trend of switching everything to phones and tablets, because holy cow, why? Computers are more powerful, and there are a lot of great apps that are only phone, and they're just not powerful, and, I mean, yeah, they're portable, but just why? Why would you do that? Why would you take something, like, a lot of these things, why would you just, I don't know, I'll stop ranting. Bella says Mac is better than Windows 10. I might have to agree with you there, but that's not a high bar. That is not a high bar in the slightest. Windows 10 is probably the worst operating system I've ever encountered. I was absolutely shocked because my laptop is Windows 8, and my mom got a laptop that's Windows 10, and I'm family tech support, basically, because I'm the one who knows about computers, and I have never seen a computer with as many issues as hers has, and they have about the same specs. So yeah, it says something about the OS, I think. Yeah, no, they thought they made it better, they made it worse. The thing is, most of my, extended family likes, Mac. So, yeah, Colorado is a little bit of a war, between the operating systems. So, like I said, Mac has its purposes, but generally Windows is better. Especially for gaming. Windows is better for gaming. There's more games that are out for Windows than for Mac. So we're gonna keep doing this. Gotta flesh out the stripes just slightly. Yeah, unfortunately, most Windows computers have automatically upgraded to Windows 10, or like the new ones, they only sell Windows 10, so like even for this, this desktop, I had to hunt to find a disk for Windows 8, because I refused to put Windows 10 on it, and at this point now, Windows 7 is becoming outdated. I actually did like 7 better than 8, but it's getting outdated. Oh yeah, I actually have I have a Wolfplay account, yeah. I'm not very active because busyness, but yeah. I was on Wolfplay, yeah. Let's color this in. Basically, I'm just outlining this region. And then we can bucket fill it. Bucket fill is your friend with coloring. Yeah, Windows 7 is good. I wish they had, like, I wish they'd actually improved Windows 7 instead of going on, although Windows 8 is not bad. Once you get used to it, it's not bad. Alright. So the other thing is I did color over that spot, but I'm going to come back through and erase it out. Because, let's see. It's just basically right here. So I'll just erase this out. And then we'll do that on the other ear as well. My account most places is going to be... well, actually, I think maybe it's not on that one. Never mind, I lied. I'm pretty sure my Wolfplay account is Arkrift. So... yeah, I haven't been super active on there. But it's a nice place. I gotta completely redo my pack. Yeah, we can't wait for Raiden's Quest either. It's so weird being in production on it, because it's like, I want to see this when it's done, but there's still so much work to do. It's weirder than waiting for something to come out when somebody else is doing it, because it's like, no, we are actually the ones putting this together. But we are super excited for it too. Oh yeah, they did, with Windows 8, the big thing was they did try to make it more tablet friendly, which again, I understand tablets, but I don't understand the craze to make everything tablet and phone nowadays. It needs to stop. PCs are still more powerful. Let's see. Do I have a Gmail account? I do, and I have a link to it on, I have a link to it on all my JPlays videos, so if you need to contact me, it's in the description of all my videos. Let's see. See you later, Mike. Oh, nice! Nice! Congrats on getting Photoshop! Yeah, Photoshop is a really nice program to have. It definitely is. So, that's about some of the facial markings, then we can put in the color base underneath. So yeah, we're starting to see the color scheme coming together. And we can continue coming in down here and putting in the fur down here. The other thing is to, so yeah, like we have the detailed fur here on this stripe. You probably won't see that in most of the animation. It's probably going to be a lot simpler because that is much easier to animate than this level of detail. So, but this is, if we see him up close, we might see this level of detail. So I always draw in the most detailed version that I can get. Yeah, you can send me fan mail through the Gmail account. I actually talk about, I actually have a list of places you can send fan mail in any of my JPlay videos. Except for probably this one that has the Raiden's Quest announcement, probably doesn't have it, but any of my actual gaming videos talk about how you can contact me. Thank you! Oh, yeah, I'm actually, I think all of us over here are very fond of Deki. He grew on us very quickly. He's one of those characters that starts out as one sort of character and then kind of morphs himself into something else. It's not uncommon in writing for that to happen, but Deki did that and kind of stole our hearts. He's a special little guy. So, yeah, I'm very excited for you guys to meet the characters and everything. We have a very colorful and interesting cast of characters, and it's going to be very fun to see everybody's reaction to them. I'm super excited. It's a very diverse cast, and yeah, it's going to be really fun to see how everybody reacts to all the different characters and stuff. This is going to fill everything. No, it actually didn't! Yay! For once I did something right. Hunting for those little gaps in the outline is probably the most annoying part of coloring, because when you bucket fill and it does your entire screen, that just sucks. Yeah. Deki's personality, so I can share a little bit without getting too spoilers, probably. Deki is basically, he's basically a tactician born into a pack of warriors, and so he's a little bit of, he's kind of the, he's very much the, if you'll pardon me using the term, he's the underdog. He's not that strong, and he's a little bit insecure about the fact that he's basically more brains-based in a brawn-based culture. He's a little insecure about that. He doesn't necessarily have the classical he's not exactly what his pack was expecting. And so that's made it a little bit hard for him, but he's a very dedicated worker, and he's a very sweet wolf. He's extremely loyal. He and Tomo and Kaede are very good friends. Tomo is a lot more like Deki himself. They're both kind of they're not the most physically strong, and then Kaede is a very capable warrior, but she's also pretty smart too. So they kind of they're a group, but a lot of what's happened is as Kaede started to move up in the ranks and the others weren't able to follow her because their pack, like I said, is much more centered on physical strength, that started to kind of strain the friendship just a little bit because she wasn't always there. And so that's a lot of what you'll see them dealing with in the episode. That and a little bit more. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, he is a little bit goofy. Tomo's the goofy one. He and Tomo are bros. I'll just say that. They're very much one of our bro TPs in this. I forgot to draw on a line. Whoopsie. But yeah, they're basically our bro TP. One of them. And he and Tomo get into quite the antics together sometimes. My Gmail account is just JZX535. So let's head up this way. And here we go. And let's make sure we get some of this in. But yeah, he and Tomo get into some trouble together, and I'm very excited to see you guys' reaction to that. I think you'll have some moments you really enjoy with this. There have been some scenes that I've absolutely just loved writing with these guys, because they're goobers, and I love them. So let's keep working on this. It's kind of interesting too, being a creator for this, and first of all, being responsible for making sure stuff doesn't get spoiled, but secondly, kind of, I don't know, thinking about people's reaction to the characters and how they may grow and change as time goes on, as the characters themselves grow and change. It's kind of an interesting little thing. So let's, here we go. Yeah. Most places I am JZX535. If you guys see me around, I'm on a lot of random sites. Okay, it actually worked. Okay. And let's fill in this area. Bucket fill is actually being nice to me so far today. Yay! And, oops. So I'm not sure if we'll get to everybody's designs today. We might have to come back next week and work more with Kaede and Tomo. I want to at least get started on Kaede's design, though. Kaede's is going to be more of actual design. Deki's is pretty much worked out. And then Tomo's is going to be more of actual design, too. When is Raiden's Quest coming out? Right now, there's not a set release date, but we are shooting for fall. So a couple months yet, gives us some time to get stuff done. Stuff like this, though, can be prone to delays, so that's still our tentative goal. We'll have a firm release date set as we get closer to being finished. We don't want to announce one just yet because these things like to change. And that's an important point, is this is going to release one episode at a time. So you'll get episode 1 in the fall, and then however long the turnaround between the episodes it's going to be a period of months, probably. So I'm hoping, honestly, for like a 3-month turnaround, but it might be a little bit longer in the beginning until we start getting our stuff together more and figuring out a good work pattern and a process and such not. So it's going to be a little bit of a long turnaround, but hopefully it'll be worth it in the end. And then the good thing about that is it means that if we do go into multiple seasons, there will likely be little to no turnaround no extra turnaround time in between seasons. We probably won't even really have a season break. We'd probably just jump right in unless technical issues get in our way or something. So, let me see. Let's get this done. And honestly, too, the best thing you can do if you want to help out with Raiden's quest is to spread the word, because right now, like, we have this idea that we're trying to get out there, but, like, nobody knows about it yet. There's only so much each of us can do to spread the word, and if everybody else helps spread the word, it'll help us a lot, too, and actually get the news out there that, hey, there's this upcoming animated series that is going to be releasing on YouTube, and maybe people who are interested in it, who don't know it exists, would find out about it, and it would help join the audience and such. And, you know, the bigger this gets, the more people know about it, the more chance that we'll be able to continue it into future seasons, that we'll be able to keep working on the story, and maybe even do stuff like release merchandise. So, yeah, if you guys know people who would be interested, by all means, tell them, please, because we can only spread the word so far on our own. What do I like to do in my free time? This is what I do in my free time. At this point in time, Raiden's Quest is my free time. But aside from that, sometimes I do gaming and stuff. I write fan fiction. I write a lot of Minecraft story mode stuff lately. And I do some games and stuff occasionally. I have most of my games I play on the channel with you guys, but I have a few games that I don't, So, yeah, if we get Raiden merchandise, I would be super happy about that. But again, that's going to come down to the idea that we have to actually make some amount of money off this, because if we don't have money to buy the merchandise with to begin with, we're not going to be able to sell the merchandise. So that's where spreading the word becomes super important, because if we get Raiden's Quest monetized and it starts earning actual money, then a lot of that will come back into making the project better itself. But yeah, I would love to get to the point where we can actually start producing merchandise and stuff like that. I think it'd be really fun to do that. Do I need any help with voice acting later on in the series? Again, that's going to come down to a lot of factors. I can't really say that right now. When it comes down to the voice acting, it's kind of a complicated thing, because we have to make sure people have good mic quality if they're not around here. A lot of our people are local. Probably 90% of the Raiden's Quest is, the Raiden's Quest team is local. Do we have a Patreon? We do have a Patreon, but it is not fully set up. If you want to be able to donate to the Patreon, keep your eyes out. We'll probably be releasing it closer to the start of the first episode, but I don't have everything finalized on the Patreon, so it's not public yet. But we do have a Patreon account, and we will be launching that probably close to the time that the first episode launches. We will definitely do a video on here to announce that we are out on Patreon as well, so keep your eyes out for that. The Patreon will probably be episode-based. And, oh, thank you. Yeah, any donation is appreciated, because basically at this point we have no budget except for what everybody's paying for out of pocket. So, if we start earning actual income, then that makes it a lot more feasible for us to do stuff like eventually have merchandise. Probably, most of the revenue we earn from Raiden's Quest is probably going to, turn right back around and go back into the project and pay for stuff like sound effects, or any equipment we need, or if people need to upgrade their programs, tablets, etc. It's probably going to turn right around and go back into that, to be perfectly honest. So, a lot of it is volunteer work, but I would love to get to the point of actually being able to start an animation studio with something from this, so that even beyond Raiden's Quest, we can continue producing these animations for you guys. Or am I enjoying MSE2? Is that, are you, MSE2, are you talking about Minecraft Story Mode? Sorry, I'm not familiar with the abbreviation. Okay, let's see. Keep working on the spots, too. The spot pattern, designing the spot pattern for Deki was interesting. It took some working. What kinds of games do I play in my free time? I play a lot of Ark. I really like Ark. I'm not sure if I'll ever play Ark on the channel or not. There are some issues with that, but I really do enjoy Ark. I play a lot of games that I research for the channel to find out if I want to use them. And, yeah, I play a lot of different things. What have I been playing lately? I have a couple of games that I don't really want to talk about yet because there's a good chance I'll be playing them on the channel, and I want to leave some things for surprises. Okay, yeah, am I enjoying Minecraft Story Mode Season 2? Yes! I need Episode 2. I need Episode 2. Okay, but, if this isn't too much of a spoiler, can you tell us what characters are going to be in it other than Deki, Kaede, and Tomo? I talked about 2 of the other characters in live streams for their designs as well. So that would be your Yoku and Stanai are some of the characters that will be in it. Aside from that, there's Raiden, and then he has a friend Hideaki. There's the pack leader Masato and his advisor Sakan. There's the main villain. There's a lot of different characters, honestly. We have quite a large cast of characters. Some of them are minor, some of them are major. So there's a lot of characters. I can't introduce all of them to you yet. I'm mostly introducing the ones that have already been introduced in various promotional material and stuff. But yeah, that's certainly not the whole cast. But it's some of them. Okay, that's not working. Okay, you know what? No, this is where I actually deviate from the pattern because I drew it a little bit differently. And I'm actually going to delete these spots because what ends up happening with these spots is I want them to kind of split it up and lead into the different areas here. Yes, the Raiden's Quest DeviantArt. I'm sure some of the mods have the link there. So, yeah. We are on DeviantArt, we're on Tumblr, we're on Instagram, which I'm trying my best to keep updated, even though that's kind of a pain. We're on, we have a Facebook group, we're obviously here on YouTube. We've got a lot of places, honestly. But yeah, we do have a DeviantArt group. Oh my goodness. Alright. So the trouble with designing the spots is trying to get them to be congruent. So like they look like they belong together. Alright, let's see. Oh goodness. Yeah. Certain plot points in Minecraft Story Mode Season 2 were a little bit like, whoa, where'd that come from? It was a good way, but in a good way, but yeah. The characters have grown and changed, that's for sure. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay then. We've digressed back to animal noises, okay then. Alright, let's see. Do remember to be kind of careful with spoilers, you guys, because a lot of people probably haven't seen the Minecraft Story Mode Season 2 episodes yet, and we don't want to spoil too much for them. So be a little careful with that, you guys. Don't want to reveal too many of the major plot points. Let's see. So I think we want to make this a little bit more triangular. Ah, yes. I do want to bring Slime Rancher back on the channel at some point, too. It's been on, basically, hiatus. I'm trying to finish up other series, like Shelter 2. But yeah, again, also a lot of what I play on the channel at a given time depends on how well the series as a whole is doing, because I do have to start thinking about this as a bit of a business now, so even though I have some games that, yeah, I love playing them like Slime Rancher, if it's not doing as well as a series, sometimes they have to back burner them for a while. And then they probably will come back sometime in the future, but if it doesn't seem to be what the general interest of the channel is, I only have so much time, and I can only do so much at once. So let's see. Let's see, oh my goodness. Yeah. I do apologize to the colorists for how complicated this design is getting. It's probably not going to always have to be this detailed. Like, it'll be easier to draw in smaller detail. But, okay. Basically, the thing with the spots is that you want them to be in a relatively sort of line shape. So, like, yeah, let's go this way. Let's try that. You want them to basically follow... So, like, the spots follow... Let me get a new layer. The spots follow kind of a line like this. And then, this one splits off this way. It kind of... Here. They kind of do this. And then it splits down here. So we kind of want to try to stick with those lines. So yeah. That's kind of what I'm trying to do here. Although I think I probably have to curve this one a little bit. So maybe we'll just cheat a bit and use our transform abilities to do this. We can skew it a little bit. And do this. And then bring it up, and then bring this way a little bit. There we go, that's a little better. Honestly, again, like I said, the reason I don't think we have a lot of attention for Raiden's Quest at the moment is because I do believe there's an interest group out there. I believe there are people who want to see the project and who want to, who'd be excited about it, but I think a lot of them just don't know it exists. So that's where spreading the word becomes very important, because we as our team can only do so much. If everybody who watches this spreads the word, if you tell even just 2 or 3 people, and then they tell 2 or 3 people, and it spreads from there, it's gonna do wonders. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. On the subject of Minecraft story mode, Petra is definitely a very, very serious and hardcore character, that much I will say. She's a very protective friend. And, she does not take lightly to her friends being threatened. Let's see. I'm actually going to rotate this just a little bit. Oops. There we go. And let's rotate this way. There we go. So that's starting to get a little bit more of a good pattern. So basically the thing with the spots is you do want it to be in a sort of line shape. Because like even if we look at the ocelot, you can see the spots, they're kind of in lines, sort of. They kind of get less so further down, but yeah. Yeah, don't go around advertising on other channels, please, unless people are asking questions about it. It's mostly just spread the word in real life. If you have a social media, it's totally fine to put it on there, but please don't put it up on other people's channels and stuff without permission, because that could get us in trouble, and it's just bad form. So, let's see. Come this way. I think I'm actually going to rotate it again. Oops, not that. This. There we go. There we go. Yeah, if you want to make a video on your own channel, that's perfectly fine. I would love that, and I'm honored you would do that. Thank you. But yeah, if you're going to advertise on your own stuff, that's totally fine. Just don't do it on others without permission. But yeah, you're welcome to spread the word about Raiden's Quest. You can. I have a lot of the stuff on the DeviantArt I say is fine if you distribute it. All I ask is that you don't claim credit for it, because that's bad form. That's just not nice. But I don't think a lot of you guys would do that. So, see you later, Emily. Let's see. Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah, so it is cool to see you guys spreading the word about it. It's very neat. I'm honored that you guys are invested in this to the point of sharing the word and telling others about it. That means a lot to me. Let's I'm gonna sit here and nitpick these spots forever. I'm sorry. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that either. There we go. Nope. Still nope. There we go. The trick with these... There we go. And, let's see. There we are. Yeah, if you want to show clips of this in the video, that's fine. If you want to show the trailer in the video, that's fine. The trailer is kind of old and outdated, but I guess it's still kind of cool. Just, again, don't claim him as your own and make sure you link back here. If you show the trailer, then, link back to that and, show where you got it. You can even do a reaction video if you want to the trailer or something like that. But yeah, as long as you're not claiming it as your own and you're linking back and giving credit where credit's due, then I'm fine with it. Let's see. Aw, I'm so glad you guys want to spread the word. That's very cool to see. Yeah, there's only so much we can do on our own, so it's very helpful. Spots are hard. Maybe I should try a different approach to this. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna actually delete all these spots. And what this basically is it's basically this marking again, but it's broken up into spots. So what I'm going to do is just first of all outline the marking like this, because essentially this is what that is. It's basically like this. My hands are so shaky, it makes it hard to draw. Let's get that filled in a little more. See you later, Erwin. Oh yeah. Wow. Oh yeah, because school, are you guys in summer school, or is this, how long? I guess it's still probably just normal school. Wow. That's kind of a lengthy school, but okay. Well, congrats to you guys who are getting out of school. It's gonna be nice to be off for the summer, I bet. Alright, let me see, let me color this in. So basically the spots are just this marking, but it's broken up. So what we'll do is color that in. And then come down like this. It's hard to make spots look good. That's one of the tough parts about his design. There we go. Well, thank you. I'm glad you guys like my art style. It's come a long way from when I first started drawing. I will say that for sure. But yeah, I'm fairly pleased with where it is at the moment. It's a lot better than it used to be. Let's actually cut that corner off. Alright, let's see. Ah, I see. Wow, I didn't know schools went that late. Ours usually get out here around in like June or something, but maybe ours start earlier. Also, we don't get any snow days here because it doesn't snow. So we maybe have if you're in a more northern place, you might get out later because you might have to have snow days and stuff. Okay, so let's color this in as well. So basically this is what his spots do. They make this marking. And so what I'll do then is I'll come through with the eraser and start kind of cutting them up a little bit. Oops. And do stuff like this. There we are. And then we probably have another one here. We'll round off those corners. And round off this corner. And let's see. I kind of want to actually make that poof out just a little because that's the shoulder. And then around this corner as well. And then from here, we will draw in these spots like this. And then go in and touch that up. Let's see. Yeah, if you live somewhere where it snows a lot, then you maybe don't get as many snow days because everyone's just used to it. And let's come through like this. And we probably have another right here. Another line. There we go. Yeah, this is starting to look better. It's more even. This may actually be an easier way of doing his spots to begin with. And maybe we'll do something like this. Oops. That actually is probably easier too, even if you're going to color, just doing one large area and then cutting away. Perhaps. Perhaps. Let's see. I'm going to put, a little bit more of a, little more of a gap there. And we'll round that off. I think I maybe want to put a little more gap in here. I really like his design, it's just hard to draw. I can see why this would be difficult to color. So then let's, yeah, we can do something like this. And then, there we go. There we go, that's getting a little better. And then maybe I'll round this out a little bit more like this. Actually, maybe I'll just, I'll actually cut that whole area off. There we go. That's getting better. It'll probably look a little better too once we actually have the other colors in as well. And let's do another one down, another segment down here. And I'll actually make this one a little larger. Let's see. Where I live, if there's any snow at all, everyone just absolutely freaks out because I live in a desert and it literally just doesn't snow. So if we get any snow, everybody freaks out and the whole town shuts down. It's also really scary because people out here don't know how to drive in the snow. So it's like, oh, yay. That's fun. So, yeah, It's kind of an interesting place. Let's bring it down like that, actually. There we are. And then we can cut it like that. I actually want to come through and make it a little wider up here. There we go. That's getting a little better. A little bit better. If I actually maybe bring this... It's the places where two sets of sprite or spots join up that it gets weird. Let's keep working with that. That'll look a little better, I think. Let's see. Was I the one who designed all the characters? Actually, no. A lot of them are my design, but especially some of our characters, a lot of them are my design, but then Song has done a lot of the design work as well. And especially for some of our background characters, she's done a lot of the design work. So I design a lot of the main characters, but for a lot of the characters that you'll see in the background of the scenes where they're maybe not named, they don't have a lot of lines, but there are a lot of them, she does a lot of those designs to make sure that we have a lot of unique looking wolves, so that we don't have just a bunch of shadowy characters standing in the background or something. She makes sure that it looks like a world full of life, and where not everyone is the same. Let's actually come over here. And then, have I heard of the Warrior Cat books? Yes. That's probably one of the questions I get asked the most on this and J-Plays, because, yeah, I've heard of them. I read the first book a long time ago, but I didn't ever get to finish the series because there's a lot of books, and I went to high school that year. So, yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't read most of them. There we go. Yeah, this is working. He almost has like giraffe spots here. There we go. So we do something like this. We should be able to just round off the corners. There we are. Let's color that in a little more. Oh. Alright, see you later, Jazzy. Let's see. That's awesome. That's actually really awesome. Let's see. That's very cool, Jazzy. Sorry if I'm not the most responsive. I'm kind of drawing. I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing a little bit here. Let's see. At this point, it's just a lot of concentration to make sure things look right. We can actually trim down that side, probably. There we go. And let's just make sure this area gets drawn in. There we go. Alrighty. Oh, excuse me for a moment. My apologies, my phone went off again. Oops, that was not what I meant to do. So what I'm doing here is I liked how the back turned out a lot more, than how this front area turned out, so I just refilled it. And I'm gonna come through again and break it up differently. So it's a lot of just redoing the same stuff over and over sometimes to get it to look right. Once you get it looking right, it's a lot easier to draw it again. Let's see. Ah, hey Ella! Alright, Ella is Spidey for those of you guys who probably remember her with that username. So let me see. Yeah, it was kind of a last minute thing. I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to stream today or not, but I decided I'm going to go ahead and try and start doing a weekly stream, which I wasn't able to do these past weeks because I was very busy packing and then I was actually gone. So yeah, but now that I'm home and less busy, I'm going to try and do more weekly streams. So let's draw, first of all, this one is actually a line all the way from here to here. And then that gets broken up down the middle. Like that, yeah. I think, yeah, maybe a little bit more like that. And then this can actually cut through like this. Perhaps. Yeah. I want it to break up again, though. Kind of like this, perhaps. Yeah, something like that. So we'll get rid of this little area up here. Oops. Carefully. And let's see. Ooh, okay, there we go. Keep working on that. And then we'll draw this in. So yeah, this is definitely going to be one of the harder designs to color, so I'm sorry to the colorist, but I'm trying to simplify it a little bit if I can. And let's make sure that we round those corners off. And round this corner off. There we go. There we go. Oops, no, don't do that. There we are. Around that color, or that corner. There we go. I'm probably actually going to shrink this just a little bit because it makes more sense. Like that. Oh goodness. This is actually Deki. He's one of the new characters. Well, newer in that, he's from one of the later episodes. There we go. And he's one of our newer designs. Let's see. And, I'm not so sure I like that. Maybe it does need to be connected like this. And then maybe widen a little? I don't know. That maybe will look better. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Let's round off this corner. And then, this corner. There we go. Let's do that, maybe. There we go. Oh yeah, it's coming slowly, I think. Nope, not quite. Not that. Let's see. Oh goodness. Yeah, the Deki bird calls are back. Yeah, everybody in the team makes jokes about how Deki's name sounds like a bird call. And it kinda does in some ways. There we are. There we go. And this needs to be a little wider. Maybe I'll just take off that third row. Oh, wait. Actually, that might work better. This may work better. And then we make the third row smaller. like this. There we go, maybe. There we go. Here we are. We should, oops, should be able to, okay, yeah, if we do something like this, maybe it'll work better. Maybe. This is the eternal tedious part of character design. Trying to make all the little details look right. There we are. Starting to look better. Yeah, that's looking a little better, I think. Let's round out this bottom portion a little more. There we go. That's looking a little better. Yeah, I think I like that overall as the design. And at a distance, it looks a little bit better, too. So let's see. Alright, let's see. What do I draw it on? I'm working in Photoshop right now. But you can do this in a lot of programs, not just Photoshop. So I think that'll work for these spots. Yeah. It is tough, but it is fun. Alright, let's, this one, though, needs to have a little bit of a smoother transition. There we go. And, let's see. Okay. What program do I use? Again, I use Photoshop for this. So let's zoom in. I'm going to actually select the tail for this part so that I can color less carefully without going outside the lines. And then for the dark color base, we're going to, so we have, if we turn on this area, we have 3 stripy areas of the dark. But I think I'm going to bring that down to just 2. To make, again, just to make it a little easier to draw. There we go. Let's try like this. There we go. There we are. And we can do that. There we go. And then I can just come along here and fill in the outside like this. And it'll be a lot easier than having to worry about staying within those tiny little lines. It does look a little bit like Krita in some ways. I've used Krita as well. Oh no, don't do this to me. I have used Krita before. Aw, thank you, Kylie. And let's see. Where? Oh, that's where. Oh, I think it's right here. And right here. There we go. Yep, that did it. Alright. And then from here, it'll be a lot easier to do the other color. Let's fill that in. I really am fond of Deki's design. It's just hard to draw at first, especially in the design phase of things. Especially with all those spots. Let's make sure over here that we draw that in. There we go. There we go. Nope. That should be a little better. That should be, yeah, a little bit better. It's always hard to get the fur and the tail to look correct. Make sure the patterning stays right. And that's gonna be way too big, isn't it? I'm gonna actually delete that. And this. And bring it back up a little bit here. And we'll actually take that time here to fill in these little areas where it didn't quite fill properly. That happens from time to time. Let's do this as well. Yeah, crit is pretty good. I used to use crit at one point too, but then I started using a fire alpaca as well. And I ended up liking fire alpaca better. Let's make sure we get that in, and then I'll come along and just clean up the outside real fast. And this should probably not extend so far though. There. And hey, welcome back. Let's make sure we this in. It's always fun to see you guys connecting too on different games and stuff. And let's mark that in. There we go. Yeah, it's always cool to see you guys meeting up on these different games and finding friends through this channel. I always enjoy that. I wish I could join in on activities more like that more often, but it's really hard to actually work that out, especially since I end up being really busy with the channel and stuff. And then if I'm not working on the J-Plays channel, I'm usually working on Raiden's Quest stuff. So it's hard for me to pop in from those, but every once in a while I do enjoy popping in. And let's see. Alright, where is the... Okay, yeah, let's get that. There we go. You guys get to see the blood, sweat, and tears that I go through trying to get this to look right. So I'm probably not going to get to the others today, too, because Deki's markings are taking so long. But we'll come back next time and work with Kaede and Tomo a little bit more. There we go. And we'll actually clean that area up a little. So I think that looks good for the dark areas. Oh, I'm not happy with this top area, though. Nope, that's not how this works. Let's fill that area in. There we go. That maybe will make it look a little bit better. It's hard to get everything looking just right in this sometimes. And at some point you gotta just stop nitpicking things and just roll with it. But especially for the original refs, it is pretty important to make sure you nail stuff down. So that'll hopefully look a little bit better. Yeah, it looks a little better. So there is with the light color base. And then, oh, the last thing we have to do with Deki here is, I'll actually select from the eyes, or at least for the dark area, is he has these dark feet. So what we'll do is we'll just line in this, well, this one first, and then this one goes up a little, and then he has his dark feet here, and that's actually kind of a contrast to Kaede because she has light feet. She has lighter colored feet. So it kind of creates a nice little contrast between them. And let's make sure we get this line covered. Otherwise we're going to be in a spot of trouble. Make sure we cover that. We should do that on the other one too. There we go. Deki is a he. Deki is male. Deki and Tomo are both male, and then Kaede is female. Let's see. Let's go up here. There we go. And then because I am a little bit lazy today and I don't feel like dealing with trying to color it in. Oop, that's good to know. It actually is not entirely closed. Oops, let's make sure we deselect. Oh, no, window, don't do things. Sorry about that. My Photoshop window decided to derp out on me. There we go. That should do things. There we go. And then we can just expand the selection and then quickly make a new layer, fill on that layer, deselect it, and then merge it. I do that sometimes if I really want to expedite things, and it usually clears up most of the little align issue that tends to come up. So let's make sure we get the little extras filled in though. There's just a few extra little spots where it didn't quite fill properly. So we'll do that. There. And down along here. And along the bottom here. There we go. And let's put the color base back in. Oop, that made some more show up. That's usually how it happens when you put something light behind it. It makes the areas that you didn't quite get filled in show up more. There we go. There we go. Oops. Trim off some of that. Oops. Some of these extra spots. That looks pretty good. So now last of all, let's actually go in here. Oops. Turn off these layers and we will do color base mid. And again, I think I'm actually going to select around color base light, because if we do that, oops, here's the inverse. If we do that, that just automatically selects it all a little easier. So then what we do is we go back to our ocelot, and so we have this nice goldeny brown color in here that I'll maybe tweak around with just a little bit. Do we like that color? How does that look if we turn the other layers on? Yeah, we can tweak around with the colors a little afterwards, but for now this will work. So what we want to do is just basically outline the areas where this borders up against the lighter color. And we want to make sure we get those completely outlined, because if we don't, they're going to get a little bit messy when we try to fill them in. So basically, we also want to line off this area, fill in up here a little bit because we do need the lighter color there. And then line off around here. And then this actually comes up around here. And then down to here, we can erase some of these extra little things. We just gotta follow this area. And we bring it down along the front of the leg. Basically just need one continuous line to outline this area. So let's see. Oh, here we go. And then again, we want to make sure we have this whole area colored in. And then this back area over here, it actually, until we have this this area down here, oops, it doesn't change colors, so we just got to make sure we fill the outside here. We can deal with some of the little details later. We just got to make sure the whole outside is colored off, because if it's not, we're gonna have a problem. We just want one continuous line, basically. And we can make sure we come up here and color everything in. Again, make sure all these areas are selected, or that it's one continuous line. And then we want to outline the outside area here too. Up here. Make sure we get that all lined in. And we should be able to, nope, it just still filled the whole thing. So somewhere in here there is a little bit of an issue. We gotta go through and hunt for it. Let's see. Make sure we get that little area too. That, maybe you could do it. It should connect over there just fine. Nope, it's still doing its thing. Nope, don't do that. And somewhere down here. Oh, probably right here. These areas where it didn't quite get filled. Nope, it's still doing it. This area needs to be filled in more. And this needs to be filled in more. And did that do it? Nope, that still did not do it. Let's see. There's one last little spot down here, I think. No, it's still being a pain. This is where it gets to be a little agonizing. It should be connected. It's connected there. Should have it connected there. Was that it? No, where is it filling? We should be able to see how it's filling in there. Maybe? Are we? No, I don't think we're going to. We should have this whole area outlined, except maybe down here a little bit. I don't know. Where is it not touching? It should be connected everywhere. Sometimes it's just a pain. And let me come up here. I don't know what's wrong with this. Maybe if I block this area, it'll tell me where it's okay, it's this area. The tail isn't closed. Somewhere in this area is not working though. It's connected. Oh, it's this. That's outlined. There we go. That did it. So here we are. Now all we want to do is just fill in this area. We can do that pretty fast. We gotta be careful not to. Although technically, even if we go over a little bit there, it's still gonna be covered by the darker. So it's okay if it's not the complete cleanest when it borders against the darker. There we go. Let's actually turn on the other layers so that we can see where we need to. So yeah, we are getting pretty close to what we're looking for, I think. And when it comes to the actual colors, we'll probably tweak around with those a little here. Because right now, I don't know if this is the exact coloration we want for him. So here we go. Fill in this line. Fill that up here. Oops. The nice thing about having separate layers is you can literally just go in and erase and it won't mess with any of your other colors. So that's one reason that I do like Photoshop and a lot of the more advanced programs as compared to Paint and stuff, because they let you work in layers, and if you can't work in layers, that gets a little painful. And we want to actually erase this area because that did not make sense with this. We'll cover that area up. He has this white marking around his eye, which looks really nice. Or not quite white, but lighter at least. Alright, let's see. Ah, thank you! Yeah, I really like how his design turned out, honestly. Oops. Yeah, I really do like how his design turned out. He's pretty cool looking, if I do say so myself. Oh, we have a dark color here we need to get rid of. And then, I think I want to mess with the mid color just a little, so we'll deselect everything. Also, we gotta go through real fast and look for little areas where it's not quite filled all the way out to the edge like that. And there, and up here. And I think his mid color might be a little light, so we may play with that just a little bit. So basically the way I do that is there are some sliders if you look at the image adjustments. It'll give you some nice little sliders you can play with. And we can actually delete, or we can not delete, but we'll get rid of that layer so we have just the white background. And that'll help us see a little better of what is going on back there. Ah, welcome back you guys, and thank you! Yeah, I really like his design so far. So the one thing I do want to do here is I want to mess around with the color just a little bit. So make sure we have the correct layer selected, the mid layer, and then I'm actually going to go image adjustments, and then I usually do hue saturation. So can you guys see that dialogue? Is it showing up for you? It's not. Okay, so you guys can't see this window, unfortunately, but it's if you go up at the top, if you're using Photoshop, there's an image and then adjustments. And so what I have is I went to a hue saturation, so I have hue, saturation, and lightness, so I can actually change the color completely. There we go. And so I can literally change the color just like this. But I don't really want to do that too much. If anything, I might just nudge it slightly. So that's to match that color. So if I actually really like the coloration, so I'm not going to mess with that too much. We can change the saturation, which is complete. No saturation means that there's no color added. This means there's a little more, a little more. I actually like the slightly less saturated shades better, and then you can go up to full saturation, which is really bright orange, or a very bright color. So I'm actually going to turn it a little bit more muted, and then lightness is how white or dark it is. So I think I might turn down the lightness just a little bit, just about 15. So I changed the saturation slightly, and if we do something like this, so I'll just undo that so you can see. Originally he's a lot more light in coloration, but I think I like him with a little bit more muted colors. It feels a little more natural to me. So, yeah. I do use OBS to record. It's probably my favorite recording software that I've found so far, and the best part is it's free. So, but yeah, this is pretty much Deki for you. And I really like how his design turned out. I think the spots finally are looking okay. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how he turned out. So originally we started with, I'll turn off these layers. We started with this. So we took this image, we lined it, and we colored it. So, yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how that turned out. I really like his design. Hopefully it won't be too bad for the colorists. The spots are a little tricky sometimes. But yeah, I really like how his design turned out. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap it up for this stream here, because we've already gone for about 2 hours, and my voice is dying, and I still have to record videos today. Yes, OBS is free. But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up for today, but we should be back next week, hopefully. And does anybody have any last questions? Before I have to head out, I'll stick around for a little bit. Always make sure we save. At this point, I think not. We'll be doing a Kaede and Tomo next time, and we'll see how many of them we get to next time. But yeah, we'll be back next week to work on their designs. But for now, I can give you a little bit of a preview. This is my sketch of Kaede, and then Songheart's sketch of Kaede. So, some different ideas to play around with, and then Tomo. My very sketchy design for him. So, let's see. Any last questions here? Oh, thank you for subscribing. Yeah, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel and you want to tune in for future streams, I would suggest you subscribe, because it will notify you in that case. But yeah, thank you guys all for your support too. Yeah, thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you guys again in the future here. And I hope I'll see you guys for the actual release of Raiden's Quest. Yes, I have lunch. Breakfast, lunch, and food, because I've been recording for 2 hours. Thank you! Yeah, I feel like Tomo's design is a little bit more, finalized. Kaede's is just kind of a sketch at this point still. Yeah, I think, Kaede's is a little bit less finalized. So, yeah. I definitely like Tomo's little setup here, though. We'll be playing more with that next time. Probably. Next time or the week after. Well, thank you. Yeah, the different designs is one of the things that we really tried hard to work on with this project, because we wanted to make each wolf visibly unique. So we didn't want to have just a wolf that's recolored, basically. A lot of them do share common aspects, so like, most of them have kind of almost a gradient look, so a lot of them have darker on the back and lighter on the belly. That's kind of just a lot of how wolves look. For the most part, a lot of the time they'll have darker on the back as opposed to darker underneath. How do you send fan art? You can probably send it to any of the methods that I have on my JPlays channel. You can send it to my email. I actually do have, we do have a Raiden's Quest email as well. So, thank you guys. I see so much you guys wanting to spread the word. That's really cool to see. I'll go ahead and put a comment with the Raiden's Quest official email as well if you guys want to send stuff to that. I'm trying to make an effort to check that more often. So, yeah. But yeah, if you guys want to send in fan art, you can send it to my personal email. You can send it any of the places that I say, pretty much any of the places that well, a lot of the ways that I say you can contact me for JPlays apply to Raiden's Quest as well. Raiden's Quest also has a Facebook. We have Instagram. We have DeviantArt. We have Tumblr. Any of those places. If you look up Raiden's Quest, a lot of them will come up. And then I think I have a lot of them set up on the channel too, so that you can see the connections to those. Let me just check that real fast, actually. For you guys. And where is this? Let me see. Do we have links to these on the channel or not? Because if not, I will put them up soon. I'm not sure if we do. We do have links. So on the About page of the channel, we have links to the Tumblr, Facebook, and then we have the Google+, which I don't use frequently. The Tumblr is probably the most reliable one, and then I will try and update a lot of this other info. I'll get the email in and such not. So yeah, I will try to update that for you guys, so that if you guys want to contact, you can send in stuff. So I always love to see fan art and stuff. It's very fun for me to see you guys making fan works off of our works. So yeah. Alrighty, so yeah, if you guys have reaction videos or stuff too, maybe you can send that in. You can post a link to that if you've done a reaction video of Raiden's Quest. And we can put together a playlist of different reaction videos and stuff. So yeah, any of that is fine. Just make sure you link back here so we can find you. And you can send it to the email, you can comment on the YouTube, or message the YouTube. Messaging is probably better. Yeah. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully we will see you guys in the next stream, which hopefully I'm hoping for me, I will start doing Wednesday streams, and then some of our other artists stream as well from time to time. We're trying to get more streaming going on so that we can show you guys more of the process work and such not. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hopefully we'll see you guys next week, and until then, I'm Jay, over and out.